Hello and welcome to Stand Up for Jehovah. Long time no see, huh? I've been away for such a long time. I've had no comedy in me at all. But I was looking at the figures in the yearbooks and I thought I'd do some digging. I've done some number crunching, which I'll talk to you about in a bit. But what I thought was, when I was a witness, I was convinced that we were constantly being told that the numbers were increasing, we were growing, we were increasing, Jehovah's speeding up the work. So I thought, before I do this video on the figures, I'll look up some stuff on their literature and I'll find some really great quotes about how Jehovah's increasing their work and speeding up the work and how the numbers are increasing. And then I'll talk about the figures and then we can all have a good laugh and we can go home. But here's what I found. When I went on jw.org and I did searches on speeding up the work and speeding up and increasing Jehovah's Witnesses and publishers and increasing publishers and all of those different variations of searches, I couldn't find anything where they're bragging about the numbers increasing. I found lots of other things. So I found that they were bragging about the number of kingdom halls, which I'm going to talk to you about in a minute. I found that they were bragging about the number of hours that they preached, but nowhere could I find any kind of grandiose statement about actual publisher numbers increasing. But then, quite excitedly, I came across this article in the Watchtower November 2016, and it was a study article, and the strapline before I clicked on it to open the article said this: "There has been no substantial increase in Britain for 10 years. What finally turned things around?" And I thought, oh my God, this is going to be great because I've got the figures on Britain and I can assure you things are not turning around for Britain. I thought, what on earth are they going to say? And when I opened the article, they were talking about the period between 1928 and 1937. They've had to go back over 60 years to find a discussion about the increase in Jehovah's Witnesses in Britain. How desperate is that? It'd be like me saying to my partner, "Oh, I've lost weight," and you go, "Have you? You don't look any different to me." "Oh, no, not this week. Back in 1937. What finally turned things around in 1938? So in November of last year, all the witnesses in Britain were sat earnestly studying. It is a studying an article about how exciting it was in 1938 when things finally turned around for Britain. Oh, that's beautiful. Then I found another great article that completely off topic, but I found it under a search on increase. Watchtower 2015. Anxieties are everywhere. Anxieties are everywhere. And the strapline before you click on the article to open it says, "Studies show that even mild anxiety increases the risk of premature death." Mild anxiety increases the risk of premature death. Don't be anxious. You're all going to die if you're anxious. You're going to stop being anxious. Stop being anxious. You're going to die. You're going to die. Stop being anxious. Oh my God. I don't think the article was quite as hysterical as I've portrayed it to be. But for fuck's sake. Even mild anxiety. Anyway, that's completely off topic. That's not the topic at all today. The topic is increase. So let's go back there to the thing that they do brag about. They brag about this 13,000 kingdom halls. They said 2016 yearbook. Sorry, I keep turning away from you. I'm not being rude. You're not ugly. It's just that I have to keep reading my notes. 2016 yearbook of Jehovah's Witnesses, highlights of the past year. How thrilling it is to see that, don't be anxious, be thrilled, don't be anxious, you might die. How thrilling it is to see that Jehovah has been speeding up the worldwide expansion of true worship, not publishers, you know, not talking about an increase in publishers, just the expansion of true worship. As a result, there continues to be a great need for kingdom halls. Around the world, more than 13,000 new halls need to be built or undergo major renovation. Now, that is a cunning sleight of hand, because there could be 2 new builds and 12,998 renovations. Okay, so we don't know the split, but let's assume that there's a lot of new kingdom halls, because here come the numbers. This is the boring bit. I got quite excited because I'm a maths teacher. Okay, see this spreadsheet here? This is my number crunching on the figures. So I'm going to talk you through what I did. Right, so what I did was I took the average publishers. I don't take peak publishers because okay, I take average publishers, and then I look at the number baptized. And then I work that out as a percentage of the previous year's average publisher, so that you can see what the percent increase is, and then I compare that percent increase to the percent increase that they say they've had. So I'll give you an example. In 2016, this is across the whole world, so for the whole world for Jehovah's Witnesses, 8,132,358 publishers, baptized 264,535. Their percentage increase, they say, is 1.8%. But if you take the number baptized as a percentage of the previous year's publishers, that's 3.3%. So actually, 3.3% of publishers have been baptized. 3.3% increase has been baptized, which means that there's been a loss of 120,000 publishers, 120,764. Because the actual increase was 3.3%, but their increase is 1.8%. So they're not telling you the numbers that they've lost. So I've done this for the past 5 years. Okay, so if you then, let's get a bit more technical. Sorry, this isn't funny. It might get funny in a minute, I promise. There's a joke coming up. Just hang in there for me, folks. So if you then strip out the population increase in general, right? So if you go on the web, if you go on the Tinterweb, you can look up population clock, and there's a number of the current world population. It's just racking up every second. It's going bing, 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 bing. People are cracking out babies by the millions. So the number of births and deaths in the world in total leads to a general population increase, and last year that was 1.13%, right? So of the Jehovah's Witnesses 1.8% increase, 1.13 would have just been a normal population growth, because the general population's growing. Okay, and if you don't have babies, you're going backwards. So if you strip out the normal population growth, if you say, well, you know, aside from the babies that you're having as normal people, this is your actual increase in terms of maybe converts in. So if you look at, for 2016, the whole world, and you look at Jehovah's Witnesses, they've gone up by 1.8%, but 1.13% of that was just having babies as normal people do, as the rest of the world does. So the actual genuine new converts in, I'm assuming, unless they have more babies than the general population, is for the whole world 53,515. Right? So they're really, in real terms, it's like saying taking account of inflation, isn't it? Your wage goes up, but the cost of everything else goes up. So in real terms, you're no better off. So it's the same deal. So they're only adding, for the whole world last year, 53,515 members. Now, okay, this is where, so then what I did was I worked out, I take the number of hours, they're spending just short of 2 billion hours on field service, according to their records. And I know that's contested because everybody puts in false reports. I didn't. My report was genuine. I only ever put in what I did. Anyway, let's assume that that's entirely accurate. So they are spending, that 2 billion hours is 226,457 years on field service per year across the whole world, right? So if you divide that by the number of new witnesses, it's taking them 3.6 years to convert every new publisher. Every new publisher they get takes 3.6 years. But that's 24 hours a day, right? That's not realistic. You've got to go to sleep, even if you're being brainwashed. So let's assume an 8-hour day. Let's assume, this is where it gets really silly. Let's assume that you're only spending 8 hours a day trying to convert someone. On an 8-hour day, 365 days a year, it's taking 10.7 years to convert every new Jehovah's Witness. 10.7 years per publisher on an 8-hour day. 365, nobody gets a day off. If you want me to factor holidays in there, I'll have to go back and recalculate it. Let's assume you never take a holiday from brainwashing. 10.7 years worth of preaching to convert every new publisher. So this brings me back to the 13,000 Kingdom Halls, right? I've got to get my other sheet now. Okay, so if you take the number of new publishers last year, including the birth rate now, so I'm going to be generous, I'm going to include the birth rate back in. So last year, 260,000 people were baptised, 149,700 people left. So they had a net increase, including birth rate, of 110,571, right? So if you divide those people between the 13,000 new Kingdom Halls that are desperately needed, that's a new Kingdom Hall for every 9 new converts. For every 9 new people that join the Jehovah's Witnesses, they can have a new or refurbished Kingdom Hall. I'm almost tempted to go back. I've come to claim my 9th of a Kingdom Hall, please. Think you'll find it's all here in the figures. It's all here in the figures. 1 Kingdom Hall for every 9 new converts. So what I'm thinking is, right, let's take those 9 new converts per Kingdom Hall. 10.7 years to convert each one on 8 hours a day, because I'm a reasonable person. In which case, it's taken 96 years and 4 months to convert those 9 people. Probably it takes 4 months to throw up a new Kingdom Hall for them. It's easier to build a new Kingdom Hall than it is to convert a person in. I could, with one hand tied behind my back, and lead weights strapped to my feet, I could build a Kingdom Hall single-handedly quicker than I could convert 1 new Jehovah's Witness. I don't have 96 years. I don't have 96 years to convert a new Jehovah's Witness, 9 new Jehovah's Witnesses. But I reckon I could make a stab at building a Kingdom Hall. So very good. You want to know some actual numbers. This is all silliness. You want to know some actual numbers, don't you? So here's the deal. So every year, the number baptised as a percentage of publishers is between 3.6 and 3.3%. It's going down slightly. So from the last 5 years, it's gone 3.6, 3.7, 3.6, 3.3, 3.3. So it's gone down a bit. But their percentage increase, the actual increase, so, taking account of people that have left, has gone 1.9, 2.1, 2.2, 1.4, 2015. Very proud of you, 2015. Don't know what happened there, but it dropped right down to 1.4. Then it bounced up again to 1.8% in 2016. So if you take the last 6 years on average for the whole world, baptised 1.6 million people, okay, left 700,000 people. Population increase, so of the ones that were left, the difference between the 700,000 and the 1.6, so that's 900,000. Of the 900,000 Jehovah's Witnesses that were a genuine addition, 540,000 of them were just accounted for by the general population increase, births and deaths. Okay, so the net of births less deaths. If Jehovah's Witnesses are having babies on the same average as the general population, they would have had 540,000 more people anyway. So stripping out the birth rate, you're left with 354,000 genuine new additions to the religion across the whole world, which does sound like a disappointingly lot, doesn't it? I get that. So that's on average about 59,000 publishers per year across the whole world. So that was in total for the total of the 6 years, right? 354,000 for the total of the 6 years. So on average per year over the last 6 years, 59,000 Jehovah's Witnesses increase. And it took on average, in total for the 6 years, 11 billion hours to convert those, or on average 1.8 billion hours per year. So as I say, 10.7 years per publisher if you're looking at an 8-hour day. 3.6 years if you're looking at full on immersion night and day, like North Korea with the microphone in the bedroom pumping out propaganda night and day, and I give in, but it still takes them 3.6 years of the North Korea microphone in the bedroom, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It still takes them 3.6 years to give in and actually become a Jehovah's Witness with full-on sleep deprivation propaganda at them. So, there is still an increase, but it's getting less. It's getting less and less. So I think last year the actual percent increase across the whole world was 0.67%. So stripping out the birth rate, less than 1%. So yeah, Jehovah is speeding up the work. So I'm just going to finish off with this article from the, I'm guessing it's the yearbook, Highlights of the Past Year 2015, and there's a bit called Worldwide Design Construction Department, and it says this new department has the tremendous task of speeding up the work on more than 13,000 construction projects. Now, I'd like to suggest this to you. Don't speed it up. Stop speeding it up, because you're already building a new Kingdom Hall per 9 people. If you speed it up, there'll be more Kingdom Halls than publishers, and then there won't be anybody to give the talk, or there won't be anyone to sit in the audience, because there'll be one man on the stage and maybe 2 men in the audience. It's going to look embarrassing, and then if a visitor comes, they're going to go, there's only 3 people at this Kingdom Hall, or 2 or 9, and it's brand new. Stop speeding it up. Slow it down. Slow it right down. At work, when you're given a job and you know that you can do it quite easily, but you want to look good. Slow it right down. Take a real, this is a really hard job. Take a long time don't speed it up. Don't go, I did that real quick. What am I going to do now? What are you going to do next? What are you going to do next after you've built 13,000 Kingdom Halls and every 9 people have got a Kingdom Hall? Every 9 new people, I don't want to misrepresent the facts, every 9 new people have got a Kingdom Hall. What are you going to do then? Oh, they're going to have to come up with some thumb twiddling plan to keep everyone busy, right? Everyone stood by the carts, yeah? That's okay, yeah? We've got 13,000 new Kingdom Halls, right? Yeah? What are we going to do now? You're maybe going to have to train everybody to become concert pianists or something. Stop speeding it up. Thank you for listening to Stand Up for Jehovah.